Why do
Oh,
you think yoga teachers shy away from talking about money?
I'm not exactly sure why it exists there, but I definitely know what it feels like to come out of yoga teacher training and to hesitate when I'm telling people, okay, here is how much it costs to work with me.
Mhm.
Or
Hi, friend. Thank you so much for being here today. And today is such a good one. We've been talking about money all month, and this is the one you've been waiting for certain. I am joined today by the fantastic Shannon Crow, who, if you don't know her, she's amazing and you need to follow her immediately. She is the brains behind the Connected Yoga Teacher and my dear friend. She is wonderful. We have connected in such a sweet way over the last several months and became fast friends because we have the same message and we work a lot with yoga teachers. So not only does Shannon work with yoga teachers, but she is a yoga teacher and has been for many years. So I will let her introduce herself, but thank you so much for being here, Shannon.
thanks for having me, Amanda. It's so fun to be here. I'm a big fan of your blog and your audio and all things that you're doing. And I agree. It's really fun to have someone who's working with yoga teachers and who is saying the same things to yoga teachers, like work on your business, think about your money, what about niching down, all of these things. It's super exciting. I am a mom of three, and I host the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast and website and Facebook group for yoga teachers. And it's really a place where yoga teachers can connect to information, ideas, inspiration, and a supportive community.
So today we are talking about money, and I've been talking on the blog for this entire month about money and thinking like an entrepreneur and really shifting the mindset from the yoga teacher money mindset to entrepreneurial mindset of money. So I want to dig in with you, someone who's been a yoga teacher and worked with so many yoga teachers, that just thinking about that mindset, because I don't necessarily have that mindset. So when I speak about it, I think, I really can't embody that. Like, I do remember being uncomfortable talking about money because it's not something I grew up around. But as soon as I was in the corporate world, we talked about money all the time. Everything boiled down to money. So it was part of every decision-making process. It was just really like ingrained in me from the corporate side of things, but it's not in the yoga world at all. So why do
Oh.
you think yoga teachers shy away from talking about money?
I think there's a real element to yoga teachers want to really help. And it's all around, if you look at the philosophy of yoga, there's not a lot of talk of money. I've heard different people say that yoga should be free. And I heard one really smart teacher, I forget who it was, say, yeah, sure, yoga should be free, but renting your space and the props and
Mm-hmm.
driving there, all of that stuff is the part that costs money. So I think I'm not exactly sure why it exists there, but I definitely know what it feels like to come out of yoga teacher training and to hesitate when I'm telling people, okay, here is how much it costs to work with me,
Mm-hmm.
or here is how much a session is, or even just going to collect the money at the end of class and thinking, like there's a whole other thing. There's this, I want to offer yoga and make money doing it.
It's really tough. It's so hard. And I think what you said is like, I want to offer yoga, but make money at the same time. And I love that you said it like that, because I hope everyone that's listening feels that same way. And if you don't, I want you to shift your mind to feel that way, because I do want you to earn money, doing what you love, which is teaching yoga, because unless you have this money tree in your backyard, you have to make money somehow. And why not do it providing such a service to other people and doing what you're passionate about? And so many of us say, like, that's my side thing, but I pay my bills this way. And I do say, like, teaching yoga doesn't have to be everyone's full-time career, obviously. But if you're here watching this, it most likely you want it to be. If you're wanting to do that, you just have to think a little bit differently than yoga should be free, because
Right.
otherwise you're going to give away your services. And I even heard it said, if you give away your services, it actually devalues yoga across the board for all people.
It does. It does. If you can imagine if dentists were giving away their services and they help people, or massage therapists were just like,
Mhm.
yeah, free massage for everyone, it would really shift it. You got me thinking that I wonder if part of this is because when we're in yoga teacher training, all we focus on is teaching yoga. We don't really focus on running a business. Like, I wonder how many people, if you were asked before you started teacher training, are you prepared to run a business? How many people would
Mm.
be like, oh, no, 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 I just want to teach yoga?
Oh yes. I think you're spot on with that. And you know my story, that I didn't know what I didn't know about yoga teachers until one of my friends who is a yoga teacher said, Amanda, I didn't know I was a business owner until you told me I was one. And at that point, she had been teaching for 4 years.
Yeah.
Like that, it broke my heart. It's why I have the business I do now, because I don't want any other yoga teacher to ever have that experience of, I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to be a business owner. And I just feel wholeheartedly that yoga teacher training should have so much more business into the yoga teacher training, all of the curriculum. I can't change the world, at least not today.
No,
Maybe
but
one
we
day.
can chat about it. We could
Oh,
definitely
yes.
talk about it. And I think that we often will come out of yoga teacher training, feel a resistance to marketing and selling our yoga, and
Mhm.
think we need another training on asana or alignment or a specialty. And even when we take those specialty trainings, we still need to market. Like, I've seen
Mhm.
teachers take 600, 1,000 hours of yoga teacher training and still not know how to say, hey, come to my class.
Right.
And it can be overwhelming. And I know a lot of
Mhm.
yoga teachers are just like, I just want to teach as a studio where everyone else will do the marketing for me. In my experience in watching yoga teachers, they just don't make as much money then.
Right.
If
Oh, yeah.
someone else is doing the promo for them, that's what I see overall, is until you dig in and think, I'm running a business and my bills depend on it, then yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm glad
It's
you're
so
doing this.
true. It's so true. And my audience is listening because they are looking to make a transition plan out of that and teaching yoga full time. And you have a fantastic story and are definitely one of the success stories in terms of teaching yoga full time and feeding yourself and your family.
Yeah. So for a period of time, I have 3 children who are now ages 14, 16, and 20. But when they were younger, for a period of time, then we were relying completely on my yoga teaching, mostly yoga teaching. And then I started to supplement with Thai yoga massage, which was like running 2 businesses that complemented each other really well. Like, a lot of my yoga students would sign up for Thai yoga massage, or I would do workshops that were like 2 hours of restorative or gentle yoga with Thai yoga massage assists included. So those went over really well. And what I realized when I switched to, like, this is going to be my full-time gig, is that's where the pressure was really there. Like, either I figure it out or I need to switch and get a 9 to 5. And there were a few times along the road where I thought I was going to have to do that. I was
Mhm.
like, maybe I should start waiting tables. I don't really want to do that. I have a lot of skills. I went to college, like I went to
Mhm.
college for a veterinary technician, but I kept being pulled back to teaching yoga. And I'm so glad I stuck it out. And I'm so glad that I started to look outside of the yoga world and look for business training.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's really important. And I think, shifting that mindset to think like an entrepreneur, business owner, whatever word fits and feels more comfortable, then you can start reading business books or listening to business podcasts, and your eyes are just opened in a huge way. And you can really start thinking, what I like to say is like thinking outside the studio, not just outside literally, but like out of the studio and having offers. Because really thinking about, I've even used the term, because it's well known in the business world, but not in the yoga world, but I'm totally fine saying it, is diversifying your revenue streams. And
Mhm.
that's like the least yogic phrase, I think, possible. When you start thinking like a business owner and thinking, okay, and the analogy that I used, and then I actually had someone comment and tell me this happened to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I probably need to interview her. Because I say, what if you're teaching at one studio or several studios and all of a sudden they all close
Yes.
and you have nothing else
Yeah.
going on? You have no revenue. So if that was feeding your family, you are going down a real hard path really fast. Like, and the person that responded to the comment one day, she said she had 30 days. So it's not like she had months to
Wow.
prepare. She had 30 days to figure out something when all of her revenue was coming from one place.
Wow. That's a
And
scary
I know
spot.
that is super scary. And it's like rule number one of, starting a business is like, okay, you really need to focus, but you do have to think about multiple revenue streams coming in just in case. So like consulting, this, you are a consultant for yoga teachers. And I know you think like a business owner, entrepreneur. And so when you think about if you only had one client, so many consultants, especially in the marketing world, have really big clients, but they only have a few because they're really big and they take up all the time. If that client goes away, it is a tremendous hit on revenue. And so if you can have a few different streams of like, okay, I have this stream of teaching at studios, and then I've got this stream of private clients, and then I've got this stream of quarterly workshops or monthly workshops, then you've got a few different things that at least if like all the studios went away, or if no one signs up for your workshops, or you have a few private clients that say no to next month or whatever, you've still got some other buckets of money that are coming in.
Yeah. This is so interesting, and it brings up a bit of a question for me, and I'm curious to
Yeah.
hear your answer on it.
Hey.
Is because you and I are both big into like niching down, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it could be confusing to someone to hear, okay, let's work at niching down and
Mm-hmm.
let's work at having multiple things, because I think then yoga teachers are like, okay, I'll teach this children's class over here and then this restorative over here, and then they think that's multiple. Do you want to chat about
Yes.
that a little bit?
Yes. Once you have your specific thing, so whether that's a person or a type of yoga or whatever that ends up being for your narrowed focus, once you have that focus, like let's say it's children's yoga, then you could think, okay, I can have studio classes that are children's yoga studio classes. You could also have some private sessions with children. You could work with families. So having the entire family as part of the yoga, like you'd go to their house and it's a family thing. You could also have workshops for kids. You could do that. You could also I have a client that is specifically working on workshops for meditation for children. She has a series of things. So she goes to the library and she has a free workshop there that then leads to her paid offering of an ongoing series for the moms to teach the moms how to do that at home.
Oh, nice.
And so you can get really creative, even though you're really specific.
Right. This is amazing. It's so true. And this is what I see, is that all have different revenue streams, and they're all sort of, so my niche is yoga for pelvic health. And I'm super passionate about that. It took me many years to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the hard road, but that actually really increased my income when I started to really niche down. And I like what you're saying, because I work at a pelvic floor physio office, and I also teach yoga teachers how to teach pelvic health. Like there are two different ways that I
Mm-hmm.
use that same curiosity about pelvic health.
Yeah, it really does. It just takes thinking outside the box a little bit. So, are there any tricks or tips that you have for yoga teachers when you're trying to encourage that mindset shift to think like a business owner or an entrepreneur?
One,
Mhm.
I forget who it was that said, it's like yoga teachers are holding on to a whole bunch of sandwiches. So they have them like hidden away, and there are starving people all around them, and they don't want to say, hey, I have sandwiches to offer. That's kind of our, if we could shift our mindset, because there are people all over the world that are super stressed out or need movement or breath in their life. And we're not just saying, hey, I do this thing, and that's all we have to be saying. It's
Mhm.
like we're holding the sandwiches and saying like, would you like a sandwich? We're not saying that.
Oh my
If
gosh,
that
that is
helps.
the best. That is
Yeah.
the best. So true. You have such a gift as a yoga teacher that can help so many people. They just don't even know. There's so many people out there that we can help, but we're holding on to those sandwiches and not giving. We're not giving.
Yeah, so that has helped me with the mindset. I will tell you something that I started to do. This is going to
Mhm.
rub some people the wrong way, and I will tell you that it sure rubbed me the wrong way. I started listening to a money podcast, like a really in-your-face money podcast,
Mhm.
while I did my morning practice.
Ooh.
So it was just a little homework for myself, and I felt
Mhm.
like I might be struck down by the yoga spirits. I don't know, because do you know what I mean? Like it just felt like,
Yes.
here, let's take this. But if you think about it, for me, I was at a place where I needed to work through, and I do think that it's a continuous thing. It's not like I've done it and now I'm over with all my money mindset stuff.
Right.
I think from a really young age, I grew up hearing messages like, we don't talk about money, or
Mhm.
uh, oh, those people must be doing well.
Mhm.
Like it's such a small little comment as you drive by someone, or it must be nice to have money, or like
Mhm.
you start to think that people who are making money are evil. There are tons of messages that our society plays
Mhm.
about money. And so what I wanted to do was give myself this morning practice and listen to this money podcast at the same time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I
I
think that,
think it's amazing. I understand why you're saying it's going to rub people the wrong way. Some people.
yeah,
I totally get that. But I'm super, super excited that you just chose to do that. And I would highly encourage other people to try it. And it's funny, I actually have the book sitting right here. So this is really like I'm about to do a promo for a book, which I've mentioned in the earlier blogs. But you can see this
oh,
book
yeah.
is fantastic. And so I started reading that book. And as an entrepreneur, really like, because if you like, there is something to be said about like, you can block yourself from money
Yes.
coming in, right? And so I thought, I don't want to block any money coming in. I want to help people. But if I can't help yoga teachers right now, like I do have to go back to the corporate world and do something that I don't love. So
Right.
just like you, when you were like, I have to feed my family, I have to figure it out. I'm like, I would be so upset if I had to go get a corporate job right now. I'm not saying all corporations are bad. They're not. It's just
Right.
it's not what I want to do. I found what I want to do. Now I have to make it work. And that's when you get scrappy.
Yes.
I
And
feel
that's
like
exactly it.
yes. And so you figure it out and you really like you start talking to the people that you want to serve and you figure it out. You figure out what they need. And so the sooner you can get there and think like an entrepreneur and get scrappy, then the sooner you're going to be earning money and doing what you love, which is awesome. I actually read that book along with two other entrepreneurs. So we kind of did like a book club to
Oh,
hold each
nice.
other accountable because there's things in there like I discovered the word rich is something that I was uncomfortable with. Not
Right.
necessarily making money, but it says like, so now I tell myself like, I'm rich. I am
Another,
making a conscious decision that the rich is not a bad word.
oh, that's so good. Here's another thing that I like to remember. When we dig in and we can make money and be, like you said, if we could become rich, or if we already say, I am rich,
Mm-hmm.
and make more money, more money, more money as yoga teachers, those are the people I want funding the world. Like, yoga
Mm-hmm.
teachers are so giving. You know, they want to take care of the planet, take care of the people. I want them to be making the money. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to be helping people. And if they can't dig in and get comfortable with marketing, sales,
Mm-hmm.
running a business, then they're going to go out of business. And I see that happen quite often. You know, there'll be this turnover with yoga
Mm-hmm.
teachers. And so if you can think about, as a yoga teacher, if you can make money, you can give to so many causes. Like, you can give money to pay for someone else's yoga classes.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you want everyone to access yoga for free, make some serious money.
I totally agree. When you think like an entrepreneur, there are some things that you need to do in business, like when you run a business. And so I do want to talk a little bit about, you don't have to give your details, but I would love the suggestions of how you encourage yoga teachers to track their money and think about looking at their money often.
Well, I will say that this has been a work in progress for me. So let me back it up. I used to run a farmer's market and I was super excited about that money. So I would count the money at the end of every market. You know, I would pay my people. I would really track things. And it was like, kind of like playing Monopoly. Like, it's a fun way to watch your money grow and then see where your expenses are, and and that's the fun part of running a business. And when I became a yoga teacher, something did shift in me, even where I was thinking that this was different. So I probably wasn't looking at it in the same way as a business. And for years, I wasn't looking at my money. I'd just be like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a surprise when I would add up all my receipts when it was time to do my taxes, like, oh, that's how much I made. And so I actually got coached on this a little bit with Amber de la Garza on her podcast, even more, because at one point, I wonder if we had worked together first off the podcast. Yes, we had. So at that point, I had all of my accounts together and I was like, that's fine. I can track, but you said it. We have these
Mm-hmm.
different revenue streams,
Mm-hmm.
and tracking all of that and keeping it separate from your personal. Like, I had it all in one bank account and I was just like, I'll just track it on paper. But it's not as fun. I know. Can you imagine?
No, I cannot. I don't
Ex-
suggest to do that.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. And so once I started with my own business account, that made all the difference. I love to see my income go up in that bank account. I love to pay people out and then still see, okay, I still have money. And there are months where it gets a little leaner, but there's never a confusion of, am I making money or where's this money coming from? I know that that's my business money. So I would say that's the number one, is to actually track it.
It all comes back to thinking like a business owner and as soon as you niche down and get really specific, you can charge more when you're more specific.
Yes.
Because just like going to a doctor, you can go to a general doctor and pay your insurance copay, or you can go to a specialist in which you will go to. So if someone wants something or needs something, oh my gosh, how many of us need yoga in our lives? And the person is specific, you're going to pay it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I charge more than I did when I first started, for sure. I remember thinking, oh, a one-on-one session, what is that, $30 or $40? No. And I have to look at raising my rates again. Same with my consulting. Like, I see my calendar getting full, and that means I need to look at raising my rates. I think that's the other thing yoga teachers don't look at on an annual basis, but the price of gas goes up, and your dentist prices go up, and you're not questioning them. Your cleaning person, if you have one, they increase their prices. Yeah.
It's so true. So special note on pricing, evaluate every year and looking at what other people are charging and how things go up. I think a hairstylist is a great example as well.
Yes.
And there are tiers of, like, at the salon I go to, I've been with the same person because we all know we find one hairstylist and we never cheat on them. And so she was at one level, but I've been with her so long, she's gone up 3. She's at the top now. And every time I paid more. It's not like I was grandfathered in at the low rate and kept me there. Like, no, she got better.
Yeah.
So she's doing better on my hair, right? And so I pay her. And I've never questioned that, ever. I've never asked her for a discount or stopped going to her.
No. And I think that you said it earlier, we block ourselves. Mm-hmm. Our students can sense it. If we haven't dealt with our own money mindset stuff, we are blocking ourselves energetically. I'm not always that much on the woo-woo side of like energetically, but I do believe it's there. And also they sense it. Like if we cringe when we go to tell them, or we don't even tell them the price of it, or we don't put our prices on our website. I see so many people who don't want to do that. Just tell people, like if you went to buy a pair of shoes, you would want to see the price tag.
Yes, I am a huge advocate. All of my clients will tell you, and I always acknowledge, I understand it's very uncomfortable to list prices, but what I always say, all my clients are going to say, yeah, she does say that. I say, you want to weed out the tire kickers.
Yeah.
You do not, like, it is a waste of time, especially if you're thinking like private clients and you put the contact me button. You don't want people who are only going to pay $30 and your services cost $100.
No.
Like that is not who you're calling into your business. It's going to waste your time on the phone or meeting them in person, whatever it is. Like put your prices on your website and be brave.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. This was so helpful. All of the tips that you gave. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's great to have both of us sharing the idea of think like an entrepreneur. You can do it. You can earn the money that you deserve. And you just have to not block yourself from it. So we've got to think like an entrepreneur, and then you have to act like one in terms of really paying attention to your money, getting really smart about, okay, I'm going to track my money every week, every month, whatever works for you in your schedule, and really just taking the time to make sure you know what's going on. And then it's empowering. I don't know about you, but I really think once I know what's going on, I'm like, oh, I know. Like, I'm confident that I know what's going on with my money.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like if you think of one offering, so I'm about to do all of the accounting and sit down and do one for a yoga teacher training. So I need to pay out the rent and do these things. And it's pretty exciting to see it all come together. You know, I had my projected and what that is, but once I take the fees off, then you have the clear picture. So could we start to think about it instead, like playing Monopoly a little bit? My kids were like, it's actually just paper, Mom. It's just paper. I was like, I know.
It's very true. We just need to think like that.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I will make sure to have links to your website and all of the things that we've talked about today in the blog here. And thank you so much, Shannon, for being here today.
Thank you. And thank you for keeping this conversation going. It's super important.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm up on a soapbox and I don't want to get down from it. So that's really exciting. So make sure to start thinking like an entrepreneur, taking those steps to change your business and earn the money you deserve. And until next time, give yourself permission to think like an entrepreneur and earn that money and grace along the way. Bye.